This is Entervoid.com's VCast. Entervoid is the world's premier comics battling website. It's a place for artists of all skill levels who love comics to hone their skills through competition and collaboration. Check us out on Entervoid.com. This episode was recorded on December 23rd, 2018.
I got 2 brain cells, so I won't say shit. That's it, you guys. I'm packing up my bags and leaving the Voidcast. I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.
Oh my gosh.
Hello everyone, welcome to another VCast. I'm your host, Pyrasterran. With me are Astrodile.
Hello.
Kozispoon. Pita.
Hi. Bueller.
And new to the cast, as well as Kozispoon, is Wirecat.
Yo.
I'm a newbie, but an oldie and a goodie.
All of
It's
the
still
good
good.
things.
And hope everyone out there listening is having a good holiday time.
I'm watching you. You better have a good time.
It's Christmas tomorrow.
Exactly.
Listen,
I hope everyone here in the cast
My
is
part.
also having a good holiday time.
Listen,
Oh, yeah.
I got pulled away from a fiesta, so that shows my dedication. I'm ready for this.
I'm visiting my grandmother.
I ate many Reese's peanut butter cups just now. I'm ready.
Lovely.
We're going to start off this cast with talking about the election Royale.
Oh yeah, because what better setting to talk about politics than during the holidays?
of course. Like all the other families.
4 more years.
For those who don't know, we have an election Royale that happens every 2 years now
Oh, 2 more years.
that elects a sort of mayor to our sort of canon city. For the past 2 years, it's been Mayor Gumshoe, and he is no longer running for re-election.
Sad.
Gasp.
But we've got a whole new batch of candidates to look at now. Even more than last time, actually. I think the previous Royale was 4 folks, and this time we've got a whopping 6.
Yeah, there's just so many.
It's a full house.
And this election Royale, like the last one, is going to be a Battle Royale. As some of you know, Battle Royale is one of the hardest battle formats we have.
Oh yeah, where they're gonna fight all of each other together in one comic.
So who's on the primaries list?
Our first candidate that we'll be talking about is the first person who came up, Sumi Watanabe.
Okay. Should I just get right into it?
Yeah, just get right
Do
into
it.
Okay. Typically, I mean, if I was any more serious on this, I would be like, do they have the proper education? Do they have the have the masters? Have they done their time?
A master's
So,
in politics.
Yeah.
Do
in
you have a
politics, or,
master's in mayoring?
are you good at talking to people, ma'am? I feel like Sumi could be a promising mayor because she has this long-term experience in Void, and she's done many activities that can be related to politics and be related to her networking in the city. And she's also a sweetheart, which can appeal to people. But my biggest concern is in her bio, she doesn't have an education beyond high school. That I shouldn't take it seriously, but I'm kind of worried. And also, she's almost dead. She's kind of on the edge.
Sometimes you're gonna go out with a bang, Imagine all the things she could do with 2 years.
Please pray for my grandma. She's getting stronger each day, but not in the good way. So,
This took a turn.
so I would say that I do have my faith in her, but I'm not going to. If I were a Void citizen, I would not vote for her instantly.
Okay, I just want to clap back and say, dude, she has a headband. I can trust a person who has a headband. That, and as you said, Sumi is the goodliest cinnamon roll in all of Void. Everybody really likes her, and you want somebody to lead you that's liked. And while you do say that she doesn't have long to live, if you're living your life like it's your last day, she's going to enact some policies and make some moves that are going to be bold yet good. So I say that it's a very promising candidate.
Yes.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, like if I was a concerned voting citizen of Void City, I wouldn't be too keen on choosing a candidate who has an expiration date, so to speak. Because, like, you know, for Sumi, I mean, like, even if she does get elected mayor, that means that it's very likely to elect a second in command in the case she bites the dust while she's in office. There's also the thing that I'm not sure how many people have noticed this. Sumi has a sister who works in close proximity to Veronica Nightingale, so I don't know how much the influence of Calum is going to change. Her position as a mayor. I mean, and Calum already has an outstanding reputation of being very anti-meta or anti-anything that isn't, you know, just regular human people, which would affect a great percentage of the population. So, I mean, like, yes, Sumi as a person, appealing candidate to be the figurehead of the city. But she comes with this baggage, and that is something to acknowledge when choosing your mayor for Void.
Interesting.
So my take on this whole thing is, if I were to like sit and vote as a Void citizen, I would vote with a Void mentality, which is, I mean, it depends on who you're asking, but sometimes it can also be kind of wacky and out there. And to be honest, I know she might have an expiration date, but as I said before, you know, maybe you just gotta go out with a bang. She's a giant, beautiful, muscular woman. What is there not to love? Of course I would vote for her. Instantly.
Wire, you can't let your thirst dictate your vote.
Okay, this is not my thirst. This is just, well,
calling you out on this.
Backpedal.
Yeah. I guess I have been outsmarted here.
The other candidate that we have here is a returning candidate who tried running last time. Sort of got caught up with the law, but they're out. And 3, this is Conway.
Conway, you have my vote. I'm sold. I'm absolutely sold on this man just because he came out of jail, and I just want to see what he does. I'm gonna be the resident who's like, I just want to pick them by their looks. And I think Conway has a certain look about him that makes me think if I don't vote for him, things might get calmer and nicer. And I don't want that. I want to see.
Astro. I'm gonna repeat what I said to Wire. You can't let your thirst dictate your vote.
It's not my thirst. No, don't at me. I just want to see the blood. But however,
that is still your thirst.
No, I'm not
looking at your comics. That is definitely. Don't even try to deny it.
I'll backtrack it. Okay, Conway, I think he's cute. That's all I have to say.
We have some really measured and very mature arguments for these contestants.
They're very balanced.
She's got a headband. He's cute.
Okay, fine. I'll make a better argument. Hold on. I have to.
I like it.
Okay, I'm not gonna take forever, but in reality, he is a very suspicious candidate. I would, in reality, probably not trust him because he came out of jail and he's also assaulted the other candidates in the previous election, and so that's very iffy. Like in my heart, I would say, man, I shouldn't vote for him. But my monkey brain, it says to go for him. Okay, listen. This guy has paid his debt to society. Are we going to keep just lording that over him and going, well, you didn't really pay it because we will never no longer trust you? I don't think that's the right way to go. He went to jail, did his time, he's out. He got his airtime and said he's a reformed man and he's going to,
do his best to be a better Toon. And I mean, how bad can you really be being a cartoon? They're all about whimsy and good times, and I think that's something that Void needs. And like his last election, propaganda posters, the classics will never let you down. And I totally believe that.
I'm getting convinced here.
Yeah, I have a question. Conway, please answer this when you can. If you win, do I get to date La Bamba? Thank you.
Gosh.
There's a free date. Come with my vote.
Yes.
I think with the decision to run for mayor a second time, right as he got out of jail, and right as the public attitudes toward Toons remains to be negative, he's walking a very fine line, and it's very likely that the continuing stance on Toons and Void will rest on how he conducts himself during this election. We can only hope that he has a campaign manager and a crew that is able to present himself in the best light. Have
He does, doesn't
a
he?
history.
You have a very cute campaign manager.
He has a history.
Well, if she chooses to be.
Yeah. He does have a history of making deals and following through to his side of it. And to be honest, just how bad could it be to elect someone who has an aptitude for business making and holding up their end of the deal? I mean, like, how bad would a politician with that proficiency be? Am I right?
You're asking us how bad would it be to elect someone who's good at making deals?
It's a really good deal. It's the best deal you will ever see. And I'm not going to name no names. I hate to interject, but I'm not going to name any names. But after the sentiment of like Toonism and just the bad taste in the mouth that was left in everyone's mouth and Void, I really think we need someone like Conway to just be the mouthwash, to just put them in a better light.
See, and this is why I'm voting for him.
Names.
That's the question.
Okay.
How badly do you want that mouthwash to burn?
But I digress.
That
Continue.
is a good question. Because do we want to burn? Because are we sure that we can trust the Toon in a seat of power? Yeah, it's true. They're all about whimsy and wacky. But really, like, would that really be good in a seat of power? Like, what
Yes.
if some law gets accepted that he just pulled out of his ass? Like, where would that leave Void in a complete Toon mess?
Excuse you.
Can't
It'd be
trust
pulled out of
Toons.
Hammerspace.
And if we're talking about a Toon, that might be a literal notion of pulling something out of his ass.
I don't want to think about that. I don't want to think about that.
Too late. I've planted the
Imagine
seed.
him
You're welcome.
Having a very serious, meeting with other leaders or and then suddenly he just does something, pulls something out of his ass, and the whole Void City is just, no one's gonna take anyone serious. No one's gonna take Void City serious.
Well,
So how are we gonna make connections anywhere?
we have a couple of revolutionaries in Void currently, so
There's
Kinda.
there's one concern I have with Conway, and it's not necessarily that he was a criminal. It's why he was a criminal.
Absolutely.
He was a con artist. It's in his name.
I think that's racial profiling.
I don't know. I mean, I've heard it that he's been so ambitious as to try to change his name to Conway Congress.
I like it.
Gasp.
Yeah,
I'm
I mean,
looking
it
into that.
is a lot of
And that's neither confirmed nor denied, but I've heard whispers.
and it's also it's a lot of commitment to run for this position 2 times and not just let it go.
Shows he's dedicated. Doing it
Yeah,
twice?
exactly.
Come on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But is he dedicated to the city, or is he dedicated to raising back funds after getting out of jail?
Why not both?
Imagine the taxes.
Yeah. Is it the people we are gonna do business with that's gonna get conned, or is it us that's gonna get conned? That's the good question.
I guess we'll have to stay tuned.
Okay, well, you know what, guys?
We're having is 2 years old.
With that, we're going to move on to
I'll see myself out.
With that, we're going to move on to our next candidate, who is also returning candidate, Kush Kush.
Kush Kush. Okay. Kush Kush. A parent. I like that. Small. I'm also small, so I can relate. Green. I guess I can relate to being green. I'd say with his experience of being a parent, he might have a positive effect on Void because he knows what it's like taking care of a child in such a hardened city where everyone's losing their shit, but he has to make sure that his baby doesn't lose her shit. And plus this is his second time running, no? So he is also just as headstrong and determined to become mayor. So I do see a lot of promise in him, just as much as I can see promise in Conway, but just from a different perspective, per se.
I honestly think that Conway and Kush Kush should run together. I think as a team, they would work really well. But as a standalone, as said previous, he's going again. He's like, I'm really dedicated to this. I want to make sure that I put my best foot forward. And maybe the second time's the charm. The family man aspect, I didn't even think about that, but that's a really good notion. It's he has a softer side, a family side, that, and he has relationships with Caleb and Veronica Nightingale, and those are good relationships as far as I'm aware. So maybe that'll help, stem the tide and build a bridge and make just relations with the north side and the south side of Void maybe better if he becomes mayor. Something to think about.
Well, yeah, you bring up the connections to Veronica as a positive, but I'm still firm on the stance that is considered a negative with how it would affect the percentile of the minority who are and anything that is not standard human. What I would want to focus on more is Kush Kush's connections to Jane Blonde, who was mayor for the city for a while. So I mean, their connections are strictly friendly terms. So you cannot of any kind of violation of ethics. But instead of looking to Veronica for a type of leadership, you could instead just focus on having that connection with Jane Blonde and having this advice in case he's not sure what to do as mayor. But I do trust that being a family man, someone who is easy to get along with all these different people, that he would be used to be a good representative of the city, if not necessarily mayor. I would say if he doesn't get the job, I would definitely see him running for some other kind of representative. Yeah, some other kind of representative.
Yeah, maybe a city senate position like Anvil. I think that's what she is, right?
Sure, why not?
Oh yes, we're clearly brushed up on our politics aside from who's the mayor.
Yeah, it's just complete silence. So, okay. Well, as far as I've understood, Kush Kush gets around. Gets around. Yeah. So
your implications here.
Yeah, he fucked the spider.
He has exactly one child, and we really don't know. We really don't know what their relationship is, but just.
Ma'am, we need to give the 2-minute time to the representative speaking.
Yes, thank you. So the question here is, I mean, I've read some Valentine shits, and I'm just worried that that's gonna turn into some kind of scandal somewhere, down along the lines of the 2 years. I mean, who knows what could happen? No, actually, I don't have any. I don't have any trash on this guy, so
Yeah.
I think he's great.
Yeah, we're all kind of pro Kush right now, just a little bit.
Yeah.
He did go to jail once
He did.
after
But
the incident with Smiley.
So he's learned his lesson. He's ready to turn over
Yeah.
that leaf.
yeah.
Why you gotta
Yeah.
keep bringing him back there?
Well, I don't know. Maybe I just like jail.
But it is a valid concern, I guess.
Yeah, it is.
Jail time. But it's also just we need to also, because there's some similarities between Kush's story or no, not story. English is hard. Children.
You're doing
and-
Well
and
thought out argument.
Conway.
I totally agree.
It would be a good idea to kind of figure out also just between the two of those, like, what are their strong individual points? Because I mean, Kush is not a tune, no,
No,
No.
No.
no. No.
but it's also a little wacky.
He's plush.
I bet some
Yes.
people in the public mistake him for a tune.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, but
Yeah.
he's
Couldn't-
colored.
Well, some cartoons.
That's
are
You
so.
can be a colored tune. Why gotta be black and white?
This sounds so charged.
so it's also just what makes the two of them stand out. from each
Oh,
other.
also
That's true.
Kush was raised by humans, wasn't he? 2 parents. So he might have an interesting perspective on things between non-humans and humans. Also, he fucked a spider. That's a good thing. Like, putting it out there. Major props for doing what no one else could. Well, some people can, but
Came by
I
her
didn't.
docket.
Would make
It's at
for-
least 100 people.
It would make for a good Saturday interview, something for the gossip channels to talk about.
I am the gossip channel. Thank you.
to House of Kush with him, his daughter, and hundreds of half-daughters.
Concerning Kush's daughter, the city is full of, we know it's full of crime and corruption. The daughter could be a bit of a kryptonite situation for Kush if someone tries to play underhanded with him.
Well, then,
And Gumshoe had a beloved wife and son. I mean, what's
That's
that got to
true.
do with anything?
That is true.
that's true.
But Gumshoe's like 500 times stronger than Kush.
Sick burn.
But Kush also
But
has
listen.
connections. I'm sure that he
Kush
would
has a
have a
motorcycle.
trusted employee for security.
Also, Kush knows Swan.
Oh.
Who's it?
Yes.
Two.
So, question to Kush, who would be your bodyguard?
That's a good question.
And answer a gun. Okay, next person.
Yeah, just a
Just a
gun.
gun.
Our next,
Just a gun.
One lying on the floor. No one is using it. No one is holding it. It's just there on the floor in front of the door. Very big.
I feel safer already.
Our next candidate is a newcomer to Void City, Harlow.
Ah, Harlow. What's this? A letter. Who's this from? Oh my God. He says I poisoned Harlow. Geez. Well. Well. Seems like he has some protection issues, but I've heard he has a new assistant named Andrew. Harlow, I have my doubts. I honestly do have my doubts. Not coming from an uninfluenced by my own character's perspective. Harlow is a recent citizen, and I know that he is good with technology, but we don't know if this dedication to technology, this dedication to robots can be relayed in the same when he is supposed to become mayor and not only represent like the furry community, but also several others, regardless of if they are with or against him. And honestly, I feel like Harlow needs just a little more experience just a little more, just more interactions within the community. He doesn't need to get assaulted by another person that is also Niles. He doesn't need to meet another cat that tries to eat him that is Victor. I just think that he needs to properly network himself. He needs to network himself and associate himself with the outer communities that he has not touched because he's remained inside a factory for who knows how long. But I can see the good in him as well because he seems to have a heart of gold, and also he is supposedly a genius with technology once again. So he might really, his discoveries might help the medical industry, the technological industry. Hell, it could maybe even help Sumi with her muscle problem. But we'll see. We'll see.
All right, Harlow. Let's just let's go down the line because he is a newcomer to this tournament. While an internet darling of cat memes, I don't know, not as loyal as dogs. Secondarily, like he's got robot hands. Those are going to be permanently clammy. Do you really want to be shaking hands with that? I don't know. That, and while purported to be a genius, allowed himself to get poisoned. How smart is he?
God, who poisoned him?
It's rumor mill right now, but that's what I'm hearing on the grapevine. So that's where I stand. Mm-hmm. Very uncertain.
I am going to say it right out. I don't think that Harlow is mayor material. He is quite he's quite proficient in technology, but I have not seen him demonstrate any leadership skills. It is great that he is taking advantage of this empty lot that used to be MW3 and making use of it. It's good that he's making, with the development of more efficient and portable prosthetics. But when the representative of that movement himself uses prosthetics more as a cosmetic choice than a necessity, then it does make you question what kind of decisions he would make if he had the mayoral chair. I do think that he has a place when it comes to the scientific progression of technology in Void, but as the mayor, I would say no. Mm-hmm. In addition to that, there have been talks, there has been no confirmation, but there's been rumors of his campaign being funded by an outside party.
Oh God,
that definitely has a bias. But then again, this is strictly rumor. We don't really have any confirmed sources. But if at the very least, I mean, like, rumors get people talking. It's already bad enough that for anthropomorphic citizens in Void is negative. We never really did have a resolution for those protests. It just became a standstill. Those tensions are still there. So to have one in the mayoral chair with the implications of his previous decisions laid out, that's just going to hurt the furry community even more.
Well, to be fair, wouldn't if there's still tensions with furries, there's also still tensions with toons. So would Connell have the same effect if he was on the seat?
See the difference that Harlow has not really stood trial for his crimes of
he's got to go to jail
for entering.
Everyone's going to jail.
Okay. I gotta go in here and I'm gonna defend my bro Hollow because he's the good guy. I swear, he's beautiful kitty. First of all, he's a cat. Okay, so he's a cat. Cats are
good. He's a cat. That's it.
He's fuzzy. He's soft, and also he probably purrs. He's a cat. That's like that's the best thing.
Sounds like this is written by Victor. He's a cat. I like that.
He's a cat.
Okay. But like this, I'm gonna have to. Okay. It's the rule of threes. It's the rule of threes. Your thirst is dictating your vote.
Ma'am, please allow the floor to the candidate that's speaking.
Thank you. So
I'm not gonna tell you again.
So, okay, like he said in his speech to the people, he's not breaking in to take anything. He's breaking in to get to know people better.
I'd like to
beautiful
interject.
is that?
Niles within me would like to interject.
How beautiful is that? Yes, Niles. What is your...
Hello, I seem to have received a call from Niles himself. He says, my window is broken. I'm really sad. Continue.
Okay. There might be a few broken windows, but what really is that cost for having a mayor that knows you? That
It costs $80 to repair.
Who loves you, who wants to do good for you, who knows you on a personal and intimate level.
Why did you say it like that?
Can I ask a question though? Like sincerely.
Good.
If
Yes.
I vote for Harlow and I want to pet his belly, will that be a trap or is that sincere?
That's
sincere.
That's sincere.
Harlow would never scratch you. He is a child. I was about to say child of God, but as saints is what I'm trying to say. And
Oh my
also,
gosh.
okay, so there might be some problems and there might be some tensions with the fur community, but wouldn't it be amazing to have a really, really good candidate? Yeah, a really good kitty
I'm
as
losing my
a
shit.
mayor. and then, kind of making those tensions go away, because how can you hate something so cute?
Hello,
I
I have a question to throw to the floor. This is uninfluenced, but considering how Harlow enforces the idea of having prosthetics, besides the problem that he is insisting them as a cosmetic ideal, and he might reinforce the idea that he is doing this as a general benefit to the community, I propose, would you guys consider this to be an economical problem? Because there are people who cannot afford prosthetics, and if Harlow attempted to just be like, well, here you go, take free prosthetics and just screw them on you, that just simply would not work in a proper society. So I just wanted to throw out the idea that since he's so insistent on prosthetics, but he is negligent of the fact that this is something that needs to be considered economically, and we do not know if he was economically privileged in his previous society in Opalhaven, where everyone was just able to have prosthetics just for the fun of it. So that's my concern. I can't believe I said
Well,
privilege. I'm going home.
You see,
It's very, yeah.
see, here's where his maybe, we don't know, helpers, the word you used for someone who's helping
we
you
just,
in your candidate.
Assistant
Candidate.
or manager?
Yeah, exactly. There's, or his networking might help, and he might get some spacey help with that.
Stacy.
But
Yeah.
he did drop from the sky. That doesn't seem like much support from his previous society.
No,
But I think
not
we
his
can just
previous society.
sum this up. We can sum this up in TLDR it and just say that for now, Harlow is a questionable candidate.
Everyone go home.
Very good. No, that was great. That was great.
Meowie Christmas, everyone.
Oh my
Yes,
god.
give me more.
Oh my
with that,
god.
we're going to move on to our next candidate.
Fancy.
This man has been trying to run for quite a while, actually. He ran against Jane Blonde. He ran against Gumshoe. And here he is again, Mr. Casino Reasoning himself, Buster Jones.
Woo! Yay! Oh, what's this? I have received another letter. It's from Shen. She says, "Buster Jones forever." Thank you, Shen. So, I don't know much about this man. I think he was on a alien TV show, and he was naked once. That was kind of hot. I like his pecs. I like his hair. I like his face. I don't have much to say because I don't know much about him personally. He's a parent, which is a plus. I really don't know much to say about him, but he's interesting.
So I second the choice of, positivity on the propaganda posters. He is naked, so I feel like I have some real trust there. Questionable choice and cropping, but I think, good idea there. Maybe something promising.
Well, I guess the thing that definitely needs to be brought up is that he was a contestant on a television show that there has been some backlash towards it being televised. I don't know what his credentials are as a leader. I think he's doing this just for the heck of it and just wants to the good Christian body that he was gifted.
It could be non-denominational.
I like the name Buster. I think it's very trustworthy, and
would you say that Buster makes you feel good?
probably yes.
I
Somewhere
want
inside of my soul. Also, if the other two running twice shows commitment and that you really want this, then running as many times as Buster has, I think that really shows, way more commitment and way more powers, and I think we should give him a chance.
All right, I'm going to say real quick, the Buster joke would have been so much more perfect if Ghost was on the ballot, but he's not. So
Missed up. Okay, I rescind my vote.
Buster does have the benefit of having Lady Luck on his side, quite literally.
a lady. Do I? Okay. I can't say anything gay. I can't.
and this is an LGBT-friendly zone.
I know, but I didn't want to say, can I see this lady? Can I date this lady? I can't say that. I am a...
We have... It's been twice confirmed that we can't be thirsty on this.
Yeah, we can't. I didn't...
3 times confirmed.
Like,
I'm shaking my rosary at you.
So, Lady Luck, can you define this for me, Pyrus? Like, is this literal? I mean, I know it's literal, but I'm asking as a, you know how it is.
If I remember correctly, he is...
They're asking for a friend.
If I remember correctly, he is literally a child of Lady Luck.
Well, okay,
So
looks like he has my vote. Okay.
And anytime he gambles anything, it works in his favor.
So how come he wasn't mayor?
Last time, though.
Because it wasn't to his favor, you see.
So far, no dice.
We're going to move on to our final candidate. Everyone simply knows him as Bill.
Okay. Isn't that a dog?
I think it is. So my first question is how did it sign up?
You see,
with his hands, of course.
Yeah,
He's a dog with hands.
That's highly ominous. This dog, he has associations with the spider family, from what I presume. Yes, no, maybe so.
Yes.
That's possibly a useful network for him. I don't know how this spider society, what their relation is with the void community. I don't know if it's public, if it's too hidden, but he does have what could be a promising network. I don't know his experience in anything. He's a dog, and I don't know what to say because he's a dog.
All right, Bill. Are you listening? You're a good doggo. Who's a good doggo? You're a good doggo. I mean, I don't know why you're doing this. I honestly don't. When you could be like getting like head rubs and like belly rubs and being in front of a fireplace with a plethora of spider kids that you could be playing with. Like, I don't understand why a dog would choose this over that. I hurt you. That's all I want to know. Because I don't know if this is the arena for you. You're too pure and too good. Let's rethink our doggo choices here.
I don't trust a candidate who cannot speak for themselves.
Yeah.
I mean, as a representative of Void, you're gonna need to do state of the city addresses. You're gonna need to make appearances at public factions. And if we have a mayor who is unable to fulfill that duty, well then who's going to speak for them? I mean, if a vote for Bill is a vote simply for a figurehead, for someone else to work behind the scenes, and I cannot trust a politician who works that covertly that they would to run for them instead.
Okay, but you see,
Here we go.
the language, the language of dogs. It's all in the eyes. You just have to take a look at the eyes, and you know what they want, and you know what they're trying to tell you.
This is really sensual. I don't like
going into. No, not like that. Like
Look into my
Please stop.
You
meeting,
see.
and you just see, and you have to discuss something about, maybe
I don't
some
know.
funds
Enlighten us.
to be raised for something, and you just see into the eyes of this pure dog, and its puppy eyes, and who can say
I feel
no
a
to
Sting
that?
song coming on.
I mean,
Do you need a moment
That's-
alone with the
in
dog?
the eyes of an angel,
Oh, now you made me sad.
It's just, he's a good dog, he's a good boy, and everyone's gonna think he's a good boy. And honestly, I think that is gonna be the most pleasant and comfortable 2 years of just dog.
Well, I have an interjection. I'm
Yes.
not a dog. Will I be okay?
Yes,
I have
because
another
you will become
interjection.
dog later.
Oh, no.
Probably.
I have
We
one
don't
more
know that.
interjection.
Go for it.
Yes.
Your claim, Wirecat, sounds similar. It sounds ominously similar to the one you used to Harlow. That he is just
No,
a
because
good
this is
boy.
different. Because this is a dog, and dogs are different. They cannot purr. That is.
You can either
Well, you don't know that. You could just slap a rumbling motor in there and then hope for the best.
Oh my god.
Can I just tack
Would-
on, because your guys' commentary really just brought this to the fore, the fact that he doesn't speak and how we're going to have a candidate that doesn't speak. As a wise person did not say, because they also didn't speak, actions do speak louder than words. So, I mean, I ain't naming no names, but I think that's a gem of wisdom.
Yeah.
There is an old saying that some dogs are smart enough to speak and wise enough not to.
Exactly. Yeah. See.
Deep.
Oh,
See.
they
Not
see
only
shit, so they don't
is
say
this
shit.
boy a good boy, he's also wise. And
Well-
by his actions, we know that we will be low on cookies, but it's gonna be fine.
I don't know much about wisdom and Bill though. We can all agree that he is a good boy. Yes, he is.
Yes, he is.
But
Yes,
he is.
he does hang out a lot with Louise of the Iraqs, and they are a shady family.
Listen, good boys can't choose their owners. It just happens.
That's true.
And maybe he is also like, okay, who knows what Louise could, find. Oh my god, these
I mean,
things
Louise
running
eats-
in my head.
Louise the
I mean-
rich. Louise is like,
Oh, dang.
But also, Louise is, maybe he's there to soothe her. Like,
Yeah.
maybe she
Yeah.
would just completely take over the whole city and go rampage with his spider kids, if not for this dog.
And she might also try to
Beautiful.
manipulate him and his good heart.
How
With
dare you
cookies.
suggest such a horrible thing to the dog?
suggesting it. Get used to it.
I will.
good boy.
Was a good boy.
Good boy.
You're a good boy.
Good boy. She's a good boy.
All right, that concludes. Does anyone have any last things they want to say about the election?
Yes, I just want to say, on my claims for Conway, I did not mean them to sound that way. I just wanted to stand Conway. I did not mean to sound like I really, really, really liked him. I just think he's cool. Please don't hold this against me. Thank you.
Keep telling yourself
You know-
that, that's true.
I really think that for this like election, emotions are going to be high, thirsts are going to be real, and I, for one, look forward to it.
Yes. I'm also very excited.
Yeah, you are.
Hey, what's that supposed to mean?
We're just gonna let the ballot do the talking.
That's highly ominous and very true.
I think thumb wars would be a beautiful way of figuring out who is stronger. Just letting that sink in the candidate.
Bill doesn't have thumbs.
But he has doesn't he have hands? I thought he had hands.
I think he's a dog with
He has-
hands.
Oh,
He has
okay, good.
hands.
I rescind my vote.
Okay, that concludes our election talk. I'd like to thank our political pundits for
It was
their
a pleasure being here.
for their wise words and input. We're gonna move on now to the comic reviews, and we have
Oh, right.
we have just 3 comics to look at today.
Because this is a comic talking podcast. I completely forgot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
kind of forgot.
I got really into it. I blacked out back there. Okay, focus.
We'll be starting with the All Together Now 2018 final round. Unfortunately, Fukuda was not able to submit a comic. Life happens, IRL stuff, and Camel also had a lot of trouble on his end. But he did submit some pages, so we'll talk about those.
Okay. Camel, you're also just want to say my heart goes out to both of you during these times. I hope you two are doing okay. Camel, your black and white is really, really good. It was very promising. I cannot help but love the first panel of your comic. I just looking at the panel after that first panel in the page, aka the second panel. When I looked at that, I couldn't help but hear like a sound effect, just like the ominous thunder. This comic overall was really promising. What you turned in, even though it was only 2 pages, was clean and good work. Of course, it's a shame that you couldn't turn in any more, but I appreciate that you could turn in what you at least have finished.
So, I mean, I think I speak for some people when I say that for those of us who've been in tournaments, they are just breakneck pace. They're super hard, and I commend anyone who even tries to attempt them. Needless to say, for those people who life gets in the way and stuff happens, I've already put it in my comments with better luck next time, but I love the fact that like you put something that you showed like, oh man, I'm not going to make it, but I want to show that, I want to put something on paper, and I commend you for that. And I know she just mentioned it, and I just want to add it in, which is like a small nitpick, but the fact that you could almost hear the thunder and lightning, that could have been just like tacked on with a sound effect. Like I would have loved to have seen that, but that's just like a small thing. You were pressed for time, and it makes total sense. And while Dale will prevail, and I love that character, I feel that Camel as an artist has really been on an uptick in quality and like comic output. Your work has gotten so much better, and even with these 2 pages, it is still evidenced in that. And I just hope that this doesn't dishearten you or your partner, and you guys do more battles.
Well, anything additional, anything like initial that I would talk about has already been. But I will say that I do like that throughout this tournament, you continuously adapted the 3 characters that you used for these different scenarios that you created. I like that Klippo and Kutto were human at this point, like fleshy and everything. It was just like, whoa, what a difference. And that you actually like their names are still evident in the new editions of themselves. Like Olivia Pilkington, you have Clip right there in the beginning. Like it's great. I will look forward to see what it was that you had in mind as far as like this conducting this exorcism with Izanami and see what exactly was going on with Samira. And for Fukuro, if you want to continue this possession story, I would love to see what your interpretation of that was going to be as well.
I mean, there's not a lot to add that haven't already been said. I agree with everything that's been mentioned before me. I will say that I'm actually quite okay with no sound effects, because for me the mood of the comic, this kind of like creepy kind of noir style comic, I don't always feel like, of course I don't know how the feel would change if there had been more pages, if you would have been more comical along the way, but at this point I think it suits the noir style more not to have any sound effects actually. So I'm very pleased with how it is right now, and just feeling the darkness and the hard shadows. I think it's a
fair point.
Gloomy mood.
Camel, from what I could tell of the pages here, this looked like it could have been your best comic up to this point if you had gotten the chance to finish it. This black and white is really, really solid, and I could tell that you're a lot more comfortable with this than with color. I think it shows. You have a really strong sense of how to use those hard blacks. Everything that could have been said has already been said about this so far. What you were able to put in here looks good. Fukuro, we would love to see more comics from you in the future. We know how good you are too, and hope to see more from both of you.
This whole tournament's been a fun ride.
It's been interesting.
It's been really fun to read, like all the different scenarios that these characters have been getting up to.
Yeah. Okay, so with that, we're going to move on to the next comic. This one is a Beyond Battle collab that actually I worked on with Shen, with the Grey Owl and Charlotte Gray, called Christmas Spirits. This is going to be the return of the recaps now that we have these full comics.
Goody.
At a winter party, language professor Revu Marx is trying to keep one of his students from drinking when he's confronted by a mysterious figure who requests a private audience with him. Drawn outside into the snowy woods, the man reveals that he knows Revu's true identity as the killer vigilante, the Grey Owl, and tries to blackmail him. This plan, however, doesn't quite pan out as expected, leaving the man dead and practically faceless on the forest floor. Before Revu can dispose of the body, another figure reveals herself, the villainous Charlotte Gray, who disappears as quickly as she appeared, but not without letting Revu know that she knows exactly who he is.
Okay. Okay, so like compliments. This collab was gorgeous. You two make a very strong pair. I already mentioned y'all the moment you posted the collab, but I have to say it again that you two make a really fine pair in terms of collaboration. Shen's line work. Shen did the line work, right?
Yeah, I penciled and she lined.
Okay. It's overall, just you guys really do click, and Shen's color work is always stellar in setting the mood and setting the atmosphere, when you're in a warm environment, when you're in the cold environment, and when things go wrong, aka on page 6. Absolutely top-notch work. I'm happy I got to see this, at the end of the year. Critiques. I have nitpicks. The guy who reveals that he knows who Revu is, his left forehead scar disappears for the rest of the comic.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Now you know how it feels.
Where does it disappear from?
It disappears from page 3 onwards.
Let me take a look.
How does that make you feel, Pyrus?
I don't know. How does that make us feel, Shen?
Let's just summon Shen. But his scar disappears. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I feel like Revu in the first 2 pages, his skin, it's very light. It's almost similar to Lily's skin, just a little bit, just slightly more tanner, but I just feel like it's a little too light to his actual skin tone.
What is his actual skin tone?
He's kind of dark skinned.
Oh,
he's a
He's a
caramel
beautiful
baby.
brown.
Um, and also there's just some minor issues with eye proportions where one is noticeably like smaller than the other. It's
Do you
usually
mean
the eye that is not.
Do you mean the eyes or the irises or any specific?
No, just the eyes in general.
Okay.
It becomes more noticeable. Like on my initial read, I noticed it especially in the last panel of page 7, where Gray's right eye is higher and smaller than the other one. And if you look above, there's Revu's eyes, where his left eye is noticeably smaller than the other. But it's just these are just like really minor nitpicks that did not take away from my enjoyment. These are things I had to really, really like stare at and be like, is this really worth mentioning? But
it is worth mentioning.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I just also want to make sure to mention background consistency. The backgrounds were really excellent, but I just want to mention that there is like a large mound of snow on page 3, panel 3, and then it disappears for the rest of the comic.
man, you are good at finding these.
I'm literally looking at it live. I'm like flicking through the pages and be like, I see. But these are it's really just stuff that I had to stare at and zoom through the other pages to notice, to see, is this worth talking about? Yes or no? Great comic. These are all just like nitpicks out from me.
Well, all right. So now I wish I'd seen those. I was more kind of just the big picture and the things that stood out to me. Like, I've already gushed over this collab in the comments because I freaking love it. I think you guys, as has been said before, are a great team, and you guys work really well together, which is evidenced in your past collabs and battles along with this. The thing that for me is, I call it a pet peeve. It's more of like, oh, this is, you know how like Sean Bean, when you see him in movies and stuff, you go, oh, he's going to die. That's how I feel about NPCs whenever they're put in a comic that I've never met before. They come out of the blue, they establish that they have a relationship with the main character, but you know you're not going to see them again because they're just there as a plot device and they're going to die. But you made the character interesting. You showed that he was a meta because he had that clairvoyance. And there was that big reveal of like, I know your identity. And that's what intrigued me. It made me lean in and go like, okay, this isn't just a throwaway character. There's some background and some meat to him, which made me like, okay, I'm invested in him getting dispatched. But to swing all the way to the end, you put so much work into this character that I was whiplashed over the fact that we get a cameo from a character that we all know and love. And it felt like she didn't get as much like investment as the NPC did. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, when I saw her come up on the last couple pages, I was like, oh man, it's great. What is she going to say? What clever quip is she going to throw out? Or what is she here for? And when she started messing with the blood in the snow, I was like, oh, she's spooky. But she just sort of showed up and then she left, which I'm like, you could have had another NPC or another throwaway character do this, witness it, and it would have had the same effect. So I was just curious. Not only, I'm not saying that Shen as an artist didn't contribute because she did a lot of work on this. What I'm curious about is what exactly did a significant character that is an actual voider like Gray contribute to this comic that when you really think about it, if she had been taken out, would this comic still have been cool? I think yes.
Yeah, one of my big observations is the same as Cozy's, being like, well, Gray is here, but why? I mean, it is possible to have two artists collabing on a single character comic. Like we've done this before, but I do definitely commend the, for lack of a better word, the marriage of y'all's process, where like you did the sketches, Shen did the lines, and I think she do the colors.
Heck yeah, she did the colors.
She did the colors. I gave some direction with some of the mood lighting.
And did you write the script, or did y'all both do that?
I worked on the script first.
Okay.
It was with I'll bring up all this after everyone finishes on how the script stuff worked out.
Okay.
Yeah, I worked on the script.
I wanted to understand the process.
And then she worked on her characters and what they would do in the situation and all that.
Yep. Yeah, I wanted to understand the process a bit better to know who to give proper credit to. But like you wrote a very compelling story that I don't think that this is the end of this issue, because it's very likely that meta is either just the first of a group of people that Owl really is, or that meta has connections. That meta has loved ones who are going to be looking for him. So I don't think this is the end of this story beat. Coloring is really good. Like that's one of her. I definitely think that some of her best skills is how quickly and efficiently she can ink her sketches, and her choices in color, because they're just so good. And yeah, this was a really high tension story. I was not expecting this Christmas murder, but here we go.
Merry Christmas.
Yes. Yeah, Merry Christmas, have some carnage.
Honestly, okay, so I really, 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 really like this comic. And for me, I actually like knowing that Gray is a chaotic character. For me, this ending is just foreboding. I don't feel disappointed by it, because it's just there's a part of her that's always when she enters a scene, she's always got something to say. She's always here to fuck some people up. Here she just enters and she sees and she has something on. Sorry, I keep Grey Owl.
Oh.
Revu.
Yeah, and knowing her chaotic being, it's something that we don't know what she could use that for. And for me, that just leaves me in his shoes as a sort of, oh shit. And I think that's really exciting, because I'm excited for the next chapter in this story. I'm excited for the consequences of what she now knows. Another thing that I also really, really like, you have the pacing in the comic is so well done. From the moment where it turns into chaos, and I love the way you guys have used the stable paneling and the tilted side.
Are you referring to page 6?
Yeah, I'm talking about actually from page 4, and then page 5 and page 6.
I call those slash panels. I don't know if that's a technical term.
I'm actually looking for
They are now.
the way that they tilt the English. But yes, slashed panels to indicate this inner turmoil in the main character. And then it goes back to stable, and then when Gray enters and he's left, there's another slash there to also indicate a problem or something out of control. And I think like it really shows that you guys know your comics, and you know you're working with not only the drawings and the placement of the characters and the scenery inside the panels, but also know how to use the paneling and the placement on the page to your advantage, to make the reader get also emotional about that in an indirect way. I very much like this.
Can we all just agree page 6 was just it's boof?
Yes.
Yes. It is.
And I know you said inner turmoil on page 6, but let's talk about that outer turmoil on what's his face's head.
Yeah, and actually also just the silhouette on page 7. Just that silhouette with the black outline, and then the blood splatter is just that is so good. That is so good. And
it's comicking done right.
The red sky.
Well, thank you guys. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for the comments and critiques. Yeah, like I said earlier, I did the pencils and I did the layouts I gave a little bit of ideas on the color mooting, but Shen was the one who worked those colors to magic. She did the line works. She chose sound effects. I actually was asking her to help come up with what would be a good sound effect for going with a silencer on, because I couldn't think of how it would sound. So props
Good choice.
and the visual effects and all that. And I wrote this in the comments, but I'll say it here. This script was originally with a different character, who actually was going to be speaking with Revu at the party, and then they would appear at the end as well for the last 3 pages. So originally it was going to be Revu and this second character, and that second character would have been there for 5 of the 9 pages. But I couldn't get that collab off the ground, so I was shopping this collab around, and Shen came in and offered to help fill in. Because I really wanted to get this story in. I thought it was really important for Revu's portrait. Also, in a practical sense, this also helps plant some seeds for future stories with both Lilyfeather and Gray.
Ha! I was right. I knew it was going to come back.
Yeah. All that's going to come back.
I love that.
And I do plan to have more consequences from this murder as well.
Yes.
I do love consequences.
There's one thing that I think is like just my jam. It's comics that make me get engaged in the story and in the characters, and how the characters are gonna treat the information that we have received in this comic, and how they're gonna act in the future. Like, I'm sitting here like a child at Christmas being all like, I can't wait for the next one.
I was going to say, and I think this is the great thing about Void, it's like you see stuff like this and you immediately go like, oh, that looks exciting. Oh, I want to be a part of that. The fact that I forget who brought it up, but basically said like, what are the consequences behind Revu's actions? It's like, oh, I'd love to be part of the consequences. I totally want to see the ripple effect and maybe do a spin-off comic on that. And I love the fact that like Void allows for that. So you might be getting some DMs your way, Pyrus and Shen.
I love how everyone has like good words. I just wanted to ask Pyrus, how good is Revu's leg strength?
Oh.
Because as someone who has done mixed martial arts, not for long, but long enough, to sweep both legs is like, I kind of respect that.
Banji level strength right there.
Revu is stronger than a normal human.
Okay.
I had a little fun fact at the bottom there, that the owl has one of the strongest grips in the raptor family. They have a strength of about 500 psi. It's 8 times stronger than that of a human being. So if you,
I really hope you're pushing up your glasses while you say this.
Well,
let me push it up right now. So if you put that owl and put him to the human-sized proportions, that's pretty much where Revu's strength is.
So you're saying to never shake his hand. Gotcha. Okay, I'm good. I'm satisfied.
I'm saying he always wins Thumb Wars.
Oh,
He's the next mayor.
the mayor. What a twist.
With that, we're going to move on to the next comic.
Oh boy, oh boy.
And this is a new character. This is a new character from Otaku Taylor. This is his only new character in ages. He used to only have Sumi Watanabe. This new character is Precious. This is their intro comic. And here comes the recap. At one of Void City's most turned-up clubs, Precious and her friends are competing to see who can get to 500 likes faster on a Voidstagram post. Being the victor, Precious is given a gold bracelet that she then quickly devours, as is her way. Her friends notice one of Precious's previous ventures has arrived at the club, and Precious is about ready to not care one bit until it's revealed he's carrying a silver watch so priceless that only 28 of it still exist in the world. This is more than enough incentive for Precious to get up and prepare to work for a new silver meal.
So, just like a precursor, every time I get super duper nitpicky, it's because I find the comic really good and I need to find something that I just need to throw out there, because as much as I want to be all compliments, I also just want to add in one critique. This comic Precious is different. She's a different character. We've had a lot of murderers and stuff. We had a lot of greedy people. And of course, Precious is also a greedy person, but in a more unique way. I personally haven't seen a character like this in Void before, and I'm really looking forward to what you do with her. I like how she has a day job of being a whole bank teller and she hates it. And you were showing screenshots of the rest of the crew at the bank, and I'm just, yo, this is interesting. This is very interesting. I just want to see her do more stuff, do more shenanigans, because I think she really sticks out. In terms of critique, a part of me wishes that I know that you made the couches and the frame around the couches red and yellow, but I feel like it really just kind of sticks out a little too much, because we can already tell where they are, indicating by the speech bubble, but the couches and the furniture itself sticks out in a way that does not necessarily please my eye, especially when you're using this airbrush that doesn't shade it with complementary colors. And one more critique I have is just background consistency. Here I go. The lights on the top of the wall. Once we get to see behind Precious, I start noticing there's less balls. They're kind of all over the place and they're changing positions constantly. Of course, no, I just noticed this while flickering through the pages a lot. Like I'm clicking back and forth a lot. So that's the only way I noticed. It didn't really take away from my enjoyment. This is a really solid comic. I love this. I love the character. Can't wait to see more.
All right, Otakute, can we just give you a golf clap right now for not only making a new character, but making one that was wholly unexpected from an artist like you? I just honestly thought that I fully was expecting another muscle character. I was expecting something that was in your wheelhouse that you would have been used to. This came as a complete surprise. I'm utterly gobsmacked, but in a really good way. Like, you still maintain your affinity for extreme body types, but you took it in such a varied and unique way with the extremely large woman with really awesome proportions, as well as the girl who has the fake boobs. Like, I think someone put in your comments, like, you know how to draw fake boobs really well, because you could tell from like a mile away. And it wasn't just the artist going, well, I want her to have like, huge honkers and this is how you draw it, right? They look artificial. And I'm sorry to focus so much on the boobs. I'm really delighted with just the variation, not only of the characters, but in your actual submitted Precious. She is super cool. I cannot get over it. Not only in her abilities, but in her attitudes. Like, it is far and away something that is super duper different. And I hope more Void artists do with submitting multiple characters. If they want an example of like, I have two completely unique like tropes and genres and looks, this is definitely the account to look at. I could nitpick, but I'm just more delighted and surprised in a pleasant way.
All right, so goth girl with the beach ball boobs terrifies me. Really good expressions on these faces. I like how expressive Precious is. Like, she sees a guy and she's just like, ugh, and then is just like, is totally in love with the Equinox Silver 40. It's like, oh, look at that watch. I'm about to go eat it because that's just delicious. If there is something that I do want to, is that, yes, you have a propensity to draw characters in such a detailed way. I only wish that the hair was much better rendered. Because, I think, like, the one person who looks the most realized with like their entire look is the goth girl with the beach ball boobs. Because, like, Precious's ponytail just kind of looks and acts like it's a single, when it really needs to be more than that. And same goes with the friend who gave her the bracelet. It's like there's so much detail going on with the rendering of these characters that the hair needs that love too.
I think this comic is, I think it's great. I think it's wonderful. You have a beautiful, as mentioned before, the expressions are wonderful, but also the body language, and the way you draw their bodies, and the way they interact with things with their hands. It's really delicious to look at, and I enjoy that very much. A part of me would want to have a little, like, with that careful attention and craftsmanship around the characters. A part of me also wished that there was a little more attention to the background. I know it's a club and I know it's a lot of dance floors, but it's also just kind of empty sometimes. Feels rather empty, and that could have helped with maybe pulling the wall towards the characters a little bit and making the space smaller. Like, for instance, on page 3 behind, I'm so bad at names. Precious. Mm-hmm. Behind Precious, it's just seems like an empty, and then there's like the 4 people standing in the background, and it would have been nice to have some couches or something else to just fill up a little bit without, of course, taking focus away from the characters. But I applaud you for your character's body language, because it's like, so good.
Yeah, Otaku Taylor, I agree with what's been said about the hair. I think especially in the last page with Precious's hair, it definitely doesn't feel like you put as much work with that hair as you did with the other character. It feels too much like it's a piece of cloth. And I also agree about the backgrounds. It's sort of a situation where you kind of made things extra difficult for yourself by making it a club, because for it to be a happening place where these people are going to go to, it's got to be naturally crowded. And there's places that it doesn't seem like it's like the club is crowded enough. There are times with the gradient shading that it looks good, but there are times where it doesn't look too great. I think you should have tried some harder shadows, especially with some of the stark lighting that's going on in this club. It would have helped some of the coloring here, so it doesn't feel like it was a bit of a haphazard airbrush. Aside from that, it's very well written. It's a very entertaining character, a very entertaining comic. I don't think we've had a character like this since Phi, GPS's Phi. And that character is not very active nowadays, so it's good to see another character sort of fill that niche. And I agree with what Kozi said. It'd be great to see lots of new original characters of this vein that sort of just clash different ideas together like that.
And I hate to tack on more praise, because I feel that I'm overly gushing, but I just wanted to touch on I'm so surprised at how delightfully borderline ratchet you made her. Just the square nails and just the Barbie doll blonde weave and the silver lipstick and the booty shorts. Just bravo.
I think she's, dare I say, precious. Oh.
I just want to say that my favorite of the crew, of course, like Precious, because she's the main. But I would really like the goth girl, just because, Taylor, you were talking about fun facts about the rest of her crew, and this goth girl. Also, I didn't expect her to look goth, so this is a surprise. I was like, whoa, I'm into it. You said that she does ASMR readings of people's tax stuff, and I was like, okay, now I like her.
Are you serious?
Yes.
I can't.
Also, the dialogue was a joy to read.
Yeah, it was. You really get to know these characters, and you really get a good sense of their personality just by a few lines from each of them, and you're just like, oh yeah, got it.
Get into a battle and then fight me.
They definitely talk like they.
Yeah, it feels like people talking and not someone sitting and writing people talking.
Right. All right. Congratulations, Otaku Taylor, with getting this character in finally. Can't wait to see more comics. And that wraps it up for this episode of VCast.
This is long.
Yeah,
but woo, that's fun. It's really fun.
Just
We
more
got
stuff to
really
listen to
involved.
while you comic. Just have it in the background.
We were just really involved about the political merits of a dog.
Yes.
Astrodile, where can we find you online?
Oh my god, I'm Astrodile. You can find me on Twitter as Astrodile with a 0 instead of an O. You can find me on DeviantArt as Astrodile. Please don't look at my DeviantArt, there's nothing on there. You can find me on Instagram as Astrodile too, and you can find me on Pillowfort as Astro. That's right, I have only one word as my username. I'm the coolest. Get out.
I'm so proud.
I won. My
Cozy,
win.
Where can we find you online?
Similarly, if you just Google the word Kozispoon, all of my major social media pages will come up. But more importantly, you could totally find me on Void.
What? You too?
That's
I'm
right, you can-
also on board.
You can find us and more on entervoid.com.
Wow. I better go there instantly.
Pita, where can we find you?
Well, of course, you can find me on Entervoid. You can find me on DeviantArt under Pitafish, Pitafish, and on Twitter, you will find me under Pita Peeps. That's Pitapeeps.
And Wirecat?
Yes. On Void and on Tumblr as wirecat.tumblr.com and on Twitter as wirecatart because someone else took the Wirecat tag and they haven't posted anything since 2012, so they're not even using this. So I just-
Oh, so you're just like me. How someone took Astrodile with an O, except they haven't used their account since 2011.
Yikes! What the fuck? And you can't even write them because okay, no, I'm gonna. Yeah.
Good night, everybody.
Remember
That's
to
it.
fight me.
Yeah, I hope everyone has a good holidays. I'd like to thank everyone here for joining me. I know it was tough with the holidays trying to organize this.
But we did it.
Pleasure.
We did it. This has been your host, Pyrasterran,
it.
and happy holidays.
Meowie Christmas.
See you in hell.